higher ed to be submitted into record. Any questions from any board members?
You want to go ahead and leave them later on, or whatever?
Not necessarily. I think these are the same ones that you all received in the packets. There was one from Mr. Frank Koppler, and one from David Matthews, who is the General Counsel and Director of Private and Property Schools, proprietary schools, excuse me, from higher ed.
I have a question. What did Copper jump in? I thought we only had one lawyer. Is it, do we have two lawyers now, or what happened here?
No, Mr. Ortiz gave us a legal opinion of what the Community College Act stated regarding the reorganization of the board. He therefore, he can answer how we got the two other letters that coincide with his decision. So would you answer that, Mr. Ortiz, please?
Certainly. There seemed to be some concern about the accuracy of the legal opinion that I rendered to the board with regard to reorganization and the intent and effect of the statute. And therefore, pursuant to that, and since you had two visitors here that night from two entities that are important to Luna Community College, NMPSIA, which is your insurer, and your counsel was here and present to hear the conversation about that statute, and he's certainly familiar in his years of experience with that statute. Mr. Frank Koppler was present, heard that discussion, and then the Secretary of Higher Education was also here and present. So, pursuant to the board's concerns, I approached Mr. Koppler the day after the meeting, and I asked him, do you have an opinion about the statute? Whatever the opinion is, whatever your opinion is, I would like to know whether you think that reorganization is legal under the Community College Act or if it is not. And he said, well, I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. And I said, that's fine. Let the chips fall where they may. He rendered the letter that you have. And I think important two particular points in that letter, both of them at the end of the second page. One of them, he says unequivocally that reorganization is not proper under the Community College Act. The second piece, he says that if there is legal costs or problems related to the board going contrary to that interpretation of the statute, and there are costs, fees, anything associated with that, that the NMPSA reserves the right to a 100% chargeback of all costs associated with any actions in that regard.
I guess, hold on a second.
Sure.
One of my questions, I guess, would be then, if this board would reorganize, are you saying then, Mr. Montoya, that you would sue the institution?
I might decide to do that. And that's, and since my smiling friend here, as I said, the school is very important to me. So we just hold out to do the things that are properly and legal for the school, and maintain, keep going straight.
In that situation, it may not be a situation involving claims against the actual college so much as enforcement of the law. Anyway, getting back to my original point, which was, you have a letter, since there was expressed concern about the accuracy of my opinion, you have a letter now from NMPSIA agreeing with that conclusion. I also took the same expressed concern to the Secretary. I went to him and I said, do you have counsel for the Higher Education Department, which of course has a great deal of power and influence over the community college? And he said, yes, we do. I said, do you mind if I ask him for an opinion, whatever his opinion may be, regarding the authority and power of the board to reorganize again under the Community College Act? He said no. He referred me to his chief counsel. I presented him with the statute. I asked him for his interpretation of it, and what you have is a letter from him saying that from higher education, the Higher Education Department's perspective as well, reorganization would be illegal and improper under the Community College Act. So I just took it upon myself, quite frankly, to garner for this board a second and third opinion from entities that hold some significant influence over the college. I thought you might want that, and I thought it might make you feel more comfortable, quite frankly, about the opinion that was rendered. So,
Mr. Before you sit down, I took it upon myself to go ahead and research also. So you know, you have under under the College Act Article D, what you read, you want to go ahead and read it again?
I don't have it in front of me.
There, let me give it to you then.
Okay, thank you. Community College Board shall select from its members a chair and secretary who shall serve in these offices until the next regular Community College Board election. After each Community College Board election, the members shall proceed to reorganize.
So we're following that, you say, correct?
I'm saying you're bound by it.
We're bound by it?
Yes.
Then are you saying there, and nothing against Mr. Medina, then, it doesn't have nothing about a chairman in here? So are these the minimum requirements? Because again, like I said, with research, I went ahead and handed to the board. We have another local attorney, Mr. Lopez, and I've seen you reviewing this already.
Oh, I've already seen it.
You reviewed it, and he differs with your opinion, correct? So it's your opinion, or?
My opinion is that he's wrong, and my opinion is that you have two other lawyers beside myself, especially one from your insurer, which I would pay great deal of attention to.
Well, I'm not an attorney, but I mean, I know Mr. Lopez has been a district attorney. He was an attorney here at Luna Community College. And I mean, again, you always say it's your opinion. And so I guess.
Whenever a judge, a Supreme Court justice renders a decision, it's called an opinion. So.
Exactly. Thank you for your opinion.
You are welcome.
And then I guess on here, because there was other issues that were brought up on the same article under 2113D, board duties. I mean, the community college board shall provide for the management of the community college and the experiment of the policies by selecting a competent president for the community college, and upon the president's recommendation, the board shall employ other administrative personnel, instructional staff, or other personnel as may be needed for the operation, maintenance, and administration of the community college. Correct? So your interpretation of that is that when we ask questions that we're micromanaging?
Oh, you're referring to the board's authority to hire. Well,
No, I wasn't saying hire. I said when we ask. So you said that we shouldn't be involved in any of the discussion. Last month you were saying that we should not have anything to do with that. I mean, these are policies that were given to me to represent my constituents, and questions come up to me, and I need to ask them so we can have representation for taxation. I mean, and people are asking me questions, and I'm saying, well, this is what the attorney's saying, and they read the paper also, and we have other attorneys that differ your opinion. So I guess sometimes.
Well, it's not my opinion. You've got now 3 opinions, and the board can take those into account and do with what it decides it wants to. If you want to listen to Mr. Lopez and his opinion from the newspaper, then that is your prerogative to do so. If you decide you want to listen to 3 other lawyers with experience in this area, and 2 of which have significant authority over this college, that's your prerogative as well.
Thank you.
Can I go ahead and read something? And this is ethics, and this is board members meeting. Okay, I'll just read. As far as I read. Okay, it says the public expects the first and greatest concern of each board member to be best interest of each citizen, without distinction as to who they are or what the background might be. But then, that failure of welfare to this community, state, nation depends upon the quality of education provided by this college. That each board member must take the initiative in assuring that the community has the facts about the school and will provide the finest possible program, staff, and facility. We're not seeing that, and that's why we're concerned. We're headed in the wrong direction, and that's why I tell you, if we can't get any information from the school, from the presidente, You know, what then are we providing for our community? Nothing. Our community asks us, okay, then we can't ask him. It says we can, the policy, so what are our rights? You think you're right, or?
No, I'm
policy?
happy, no, I don't think what I'm telling you is in any way inconsistent with the policy. You may
Well, then,
recall.
see, it's not consistent with the policy, that's why I say, so why do we have a policy to follow if it's inconsistent with what you're saying?
I don't believe there's any inconsistency with what you've read and what I've said, so let's go back. What I want to outline to the board is that when this board was reconstituted right after the election, we met here twice attempting to go through training. Inherent in that training was some outlines about the chain of command, the hiring authority, how it works, why it works the way it does. At those meetings, I will say that, quite frankly, I'm not sure if those points that were raised registered, if people really took that in. Now, where we are now, with respect, trustee, what I think the board's role is, quite frankly, with regard to your concerns, and I think there are legitimate concerns about in the wrong direction. With regard to personnel, the board's oversight role is limited to the president. We go into executive session, you have some concerns, you express those concerns, the board as a whole decides on a direction that it wishes to take, whether it wants to give the president some pointers, hey, can you pay more attention to this? This is a concern for us. We need you to do the following. Pay attention to these particular issues, such as some of the things that are listed in the letter that you signed. I think that's absolutely fair game and consistent with the mission that you just outlined. Now, where I think it becomes a problem is that on a day-to-day basis, you have hired the president to run the college for this board. That means, to a certain degree, hands off. That means when he deals with his directors, that's not your role. That means when he deals with staff and hiring, it's not your role. Now, Trustee Romero raises a good point, which is the policy says, well, we hire. Well, that's true, but there's a little word in there that says, upon the recommendation of the president. And also, if you go through that policy at length, it will tell you over and over and over again, he sets the structure, he decides where and when and how employees are hired. He brings them to you for recommendation, and the board, just like you did tonight. There was a consent agenda tonight where he said, these were the processes, these are the people, I would like your consent. That's the board action that was referred to in Mr. Romero's earlier statement. That's what's covered by the policy. Now, let's assume that you had a problem with what he did or how he did it or who came up in the process. You could go to him and you could say, Mr. President, it's our recommendation that you reconsider these hires, and you could vote down the consent agenda. That's your power as a board over personnel. But you don't have the power to reach out and pick who you want, or tell him how to run the process, or tell him how he gets his recommendations. That's not what the policy says, and I have trained on that multiple times, but again, here we are, third, fourth, fifth time.
I don't think that's the issue there, Tony. I think that what we're saying is, I mean, that's what we want. You tell us one thing, now you're saying yes. I mean, the recommendation, we're asking for recommendation from the president. I mean, if the president hires airplane pilot without the recommendation of this board, I mean, we don't even have an airplane. So we want, out of courtesy, like I said, since the first meeting, that out of courtesy to this board, we would like to know what's going on.
You vote down that recommendation for an airplane pilot. That's what you do.
I guess again, you're not understanding the question. So I'll say it another time. I guess as a board, we would like, out of consideration for the president, to let us know what action is going on here. I mean, who he's hiring and what he's recommending to this board who to hire. It says it right there. That's what we're asking.
Right, it was on the agenda.
Yeah, it was.
Voted on it.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. But the way you made it sound is this is the third time that we weren't comprehending exactly what you were saying. So I just clarifying that we do, that we're not as, we're not attorneys.
My concern, Mr. Romero, is that with your earlier statement, it seemed to be that you were concerned that somehow the board is being robbed of its operations and hiring. That is simply not true. The functions that you have on your agenda with regard
Maybe
to
that was your
votes,
opinion.
with regard to the votes on consent, both for your contractors and employees, are consistent with the role that the board has in hiring. That's in your policy, it's there, and we have discussed it. And I think it's consistent, certainly, with the mission that you discussed, Trustee Chavez. And I think that if you have concerns, we've got an executive session tonight where you can raise the concerns that I think they're fair. I think they're fair game.
I think, if I can say something, please. Yeah. I think right now that we need to point more and move on to our next.
Thank you, Mr. Valdez. Let's move on to the next item.
Thank you.
Thank you. These